I am really happy to be here today with the amazing David Silverman. Now, Dr. David and I have spoken a couple of times before, normally with Danielle Matthews present. And I met Dr. David through my link with the redox signaling molecules, the ASEA company. And I just love the information you're sharing, David, and how much you're able to explain to people. You're so passionate about sharing health and wellness and empowering people. But for those of you that haven't seen Dr. David on my channel before, can you just give us a little bit into your background and how you got involved with the redox molecules?
Sure, sure, Catherine. I'm happy to. Thanks for having me across the pond. I was over on your side. I live in the Washington, D.C. area in Florida in the U.S. and but split the time between the two. But I was over in France, my wife and I, for 2.5 weeks. I wish we were a little closer. We could have met in person, but
Yeah.
I know we will. I know we will. So my background is foot and ankle surgery. I owned my own practice, my own surgery center here. Was board certified in foot surgery, foot orthopedics, primary podiatric medicine. Loved what I did. I got into it because I wanted to really make a difference. I wanted to help people. The human body fascinates me. And to tell you the truth, I didn't want to deal with life and death. So I didn't go into internal medicine or things like that. I really enjoyed what I did, but I did feel kind of limited, like that I could be doing more with my life to help people. And I'm 62 years old. I just turned 62. You can reverse those numbers. 62. I feel like I'm 26 because of what we're going to talk about here. My wife as well. She's 60. She'll be 62 in May, and we just feel like kids. It's just remarkable. I was introduced real briefly because I know we want to get into the meat of this, how it can help people who have issues, whether they're sleeping issues or hormone issues. My wife had some hormone issues, pretty remarkable results. But I was introduced to this 12 years ago by a dear friend, Debbie. She's Debbie Wetzler. She's not a doctor, but she told me what this product had done for her mom with her joint problems and her breathing problems. And she showed me her skin. She had an issue that people a lot of times get on their elbows. We don't use diagnostic terms, disease names, because this is not a medicine. Although a pharmaceutical company, they would have buried it if they gotten this. Pharmaceutical companies don't want people to be well. They need people to be sick to need their product, which is fine. I mean, but there are better approaches to health, I believe, than waiting till you're sick and taking medicines. I know you believe that too. But when she brought it to me, my dad was ill. So I looked at this for my father, not for me. I was 50 at the time. I really was not looking for anything for me, but my dad had a very grave issue um, in his body that no one wants to hear they have in any part of their body, whether it's their prostate or their breast or their lung or pancreas. So I looked at it for my dad, investigated it like you did. I mean, I didn't just look at Google and say, oh gosh, it looks like it's just salt water or it's all, if it was this good, we would know about it. I took it seriously because I loved my father. And I felt like if I don't investigate this, what if something happens to my dad and I find out later that I should have looked at it? So I took it seriously. Thank God. My friend told me about it and I listened, investigated it, saw that it was something very, very different, as we'll talk about, than anything else. I didn't know at the time what a massive breakthrough that it is in health science, that it actually kind of dwarfs penicillin in what this is. The only thing that I can think of on the same level of being a breakthrough would be stem cells. It's just
Yeah.
a totally different approach than pharmaceuticals, right? Helping the body kind of regenerate itself. And saw what it did for my dad. Thought it might have been a placebo or a coincidence because my dad did some other things as well. But I kept referring people to my friend Debbie. And they kept coming back to me saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, whether it was blood sugar or sleeping problems or hot flashes or skin or whatever. And I thought maybe it's just a coincidence, a placebo. How can something that's made from salt and water do all of that? But then a friend of mine, a doctor, got on it for joint problems, was drinking it, calls me in a month. He goes, I'm better. It's a placebo. And I said, yeah, it may be. And then a week later, he called me. He said, David, it's not a placebo. And I said, Dan, what do you mean? Why do you say that? It could still be a placebo. He said, no, something else happened. I've had skin tags in my armpits for decades, and they're pink and long and hanging. And my dad had them. By the time he died, it was like a jungle under there. And he said, I just got out of the shower and they're brown and most of them are gone. And I flicked my finger against them and something just fell off on the floor. He said, this is doing something at the cellular level. And so for me, that's when I knew it was real. That's when I got on it. I got some more people I knew on it. I flew out to meet the people who started the company and refused the offer from the pharmaceutical company. And they said, will you help us make the world aware of this breakthrough? And I said, yes. So that's how I got involved. And it's just been a joy since then. So now I'm on the medical board of the company. It's a volunteer position with a lot of other practitioners, MDs, DOs, NDs, acupuncturists. We were all stunned by this. And so that's a volunteer position. And I'm just an independent representative of the company. I make people aware of this. They tell people, they tell people, they tell people. And that's the method of distribution to get this to the world. And you're doing a great job. You're helping people at a much faster rate than I did when I got started with this. And I commend you for that.
Thank you. And the thing that really got me, David, when I got involved, I mean, I'm a biologist and a holistic health practitioner for animals and humans. And so I've been working with natural remedy. I'm a firm believer that nature has all the answers. And I'm also a firm believer of the power of ourselves to heal ourselves. But my view is, why make life difficult for yourself if there are these things out there that can make life easy for yourself? Because we are bombarded from all directions with stress, with pollution, with food that's not real food anymore, you name it. And so therefore, for the average person to keep up with all this, it's challenging. And, you know, as a mum, first and foremost, yes, I work with people and animals all over the world, but first and foremost, I'm a mum. And I can see the challenges that my children have thrown at them. And when I saw this, it was like how I felt when I learned to be an iridologist. It's so foundational, David, in terms of the communication. So the way I look at it, I'm not a mechanic, but if you've got a really amazing Aston Martin, but the fuel pump is constricted in some way, it doesn't matter how good that engine is or how good the fuel is that you're putting in there, it's not going to get to where it needs and the car can't perform. And what I see time and time again with the clients and the people I work with is this breakdown in the cellular communication, which means they can be pumping some really amazing things into themselves, but it's not doing the job it needs. And what I've just been completely blown away by the results of these, not just in humans, but in animals. Can you talk us through about why the redox molecules are so foundational at this cellular communication level?
Absolutely. And the analogy you give is a good one. And one of the ones that I give is very similar. You know, we can all buy a cell phone, right? We can buy a old flip phone. We can buy a cheap smartphone. We can buy the one that does everything, right? Most expensive one. But if it doesn't have good signal, then all it is a camera and a flashlight. You have to have good signal. You have to have good communication. If the signal's not good, what are you going to do with it? You're stuck on the side of the road with a $4,000 phone and you have no signal. You can't call for a tow truck because you can't do anything with it. Same thing with the body. You said with all these things that are thrown at us, toxins, stress, pollution, all these things are thrown at us. And then we try to take all these different pills. You know, you go into a health food store, I walk down the aisle and I'm pretty versed in this stuff, but I walk down the aisle and I see some of these, it's like so overwhelming. Like there's 17,000 different things that you can put in your body. But again, it's like all the features on a phone. If there's not communication happening and the cells are not repairing themselves and the cells are not replacing bad cells with good cells, then what good does it do? And that's what I love when you said it's foundational. What's unique about this is, as opposed to all the things in the health food store, all the things there, this is in us. This isn't a pharmaceutical. It's not a nutritional. It's none of that. This is redox signaling molecules. It's in us. Our cells make it. Our cells make it from saline. People say, why is it, how it says the ingredients are salt and water. The ingredients are salt and water to make these reductants and oxidants, these redox signaling molecules. They're made from 4 atoms, sodium, chloride, hydrogen, and oxygen, and in different configurations other than sodium chloride and H2O. So people say, well, why salt water? Why saline? Because that's what we're filled with. right? When you cry, it tastes salty. When you sweat, it tastes salty. When you get an IV at the hospital, it's saline. Our cells are filled with saline. So the thing about this is, without getting into we can give references on more exactly how this works, but when we're younger people have less health issues than older people. There's no doubt. I mean, there are children that have issues, and very often it's a problem, genetic problem, or problem with their mitochondria. And that's where these molecules are made, in the mitochondria during the Krebs cycle, as you know, during ATP formation. But they were considered a useless byproduct during the production of ATP. In the 90s, it was discovered that it's not a useless byproduct. It's all about communication and having cells talk to one another. But our mitochondria start going downhill at puberty. So I'm 62 now. When I was a kid, I was producing this much. I fall off my bicycle, I heal quickly. I break a bone, I heal quickly. When I'm 20, I don't heal as quickly from the same injury. I don't have a lot of diseases at 20. People at 20 don't have diseases generally, but the process has started to decline, whether it's humans or animals. Puppies are healthier than older dogs. Kittens are healthier than older cats. Children are healthier than older adults. Right? Then into my 30s, I produce less, 40s, 50s, 60s. So I fall off my bicycle now if I wasn't, because this is redox molecules. When I drink this, I raise my levels back up to when I was a kid. That's why I said I'm 62. I feel like I'm 26, right? But I'm 62. My cells are producing this much. So if I wasn't drinking this, this is where I'd be. Next year, I'd be here, 70s, 80s, 90s. And you see what happens to us. We heal slower. We get more diseases. You see more incidents of that horrible disease that spreads through the body, and everybody freaks out and burns it and radiates it. And everybody just sits around waiting, hoping it doesn't happen to them. When you do have control, if your cells can communicate with one another and your immune system can hear when you had normal cells and now you fall off your bicycle, you have damaged cells. They need to be replaced with good cells, right? And we see it happen faster in kids. When you have cells that get old and worn out, whether it's gut cells, pancreas cells, uterus cells, breast cells, retina cells, lung cells, and they're old and they need to be replaced, how do they get replaced? The immune system replaces them. But the immune system has to get the call for help, the signal to replace the cell, to go down and get rid of the bad cell, and then a new cell takes its place. Redox molecules amplify signal. So when you're young and you have a lot of redox molecules because your mitochondria is pumping it out, the signal's so loud and clear that the immune system just jumps on the problem, and it's fast. But then when you're 50, when you fall off your bicycle, instead of the call being help, help, at 50, it's help, help. At 90, it's help, help. And a 90-year-old falling off a bicycle, there's a good chance they're going to die, she or he, then or afterwards, because their body can't bounce back. Then they have clots. They have all these things. This does not heal you. It does not cure you. It amplifies signaling. And the immune system doesn't care if it's a lung cell, if it's a retina cell, if it's a uterus cell. It doesn't matter. The body is going to respond better when it's younger than when it's older. And this is basically, I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but it's the fountain of youth. And I've seen it for the past 12 years. And by the way, fortunately, there's another little side benefit is skin is made up of cells, right?
I know,
So
mine's so much better.
you look younger than when I met you a few months ago. I can't believe it. But I do believe it because I've been doing this long enough. But and I want to answer your questions, but the gel version of it, okay, and the company has products that, it's all about cellular health. Everything is about cellular health. They have about 13 products here in the US. I think they have them all there in UK also, but in US, there are 13 products. The gel version of this is Renew 28, and it's marketed for anti-aging. So it's interesting. It makes a believer out of anybody in minutes, not for wrinkles, but I'll tell you why, why, but it's clear. There's no smell. Remember, it's made from saline, and this is patented, by the way. There's patents on this. So I'm rubbing it on my face. I already did it this morning, but I'm doing it again. That's okay. It's and you take pictures of your skin, watch what happens to wrinkles, watch what happens to spots over time. I give it at least 30 days. But there's something that's fascinating about it within 10 minutes that anybody who says, Catherine, I can't believe it. I read online, it's just salt water. if it was this good, we would know about it. It's got to be some kind of scam. And the company's 13 years old. They grow revenue every year. They've done over $1 billion in sales. I mean, you can't fool people with salt water, but here's how people prove it to themselves. They find something on their body that hurts them. Their neck, their back, maybe they got a little stiffness in their hand or their neck. Maybe they were in a car accident. They can't turn their neck, whatever it is, anywhere in the body. They can't do a deep knee bend. It hurts to come up. They rate their discomfort on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really bad and 1 being a little bit. They shake up the gel and they don't put it on once. They can, but if they put it on 3 times in 5 minutes, it's pretty fascinating what happens to 9 out of 10 people. 9 out of 10. Very remarkable. And they realize this is not salt water. There's something really, really significant here. And it leads them to the fact that, okay, this is the more important version of this, but sometimes it can take a day, it can take 90 days to see the results, but this builds their belief real quickly.
Yeah.
And the bonus is you look younger.
Exactly. And you really do. People are noticing. I just want to share a really quick story with you that happened this week. So I was watching my daughter play football, or soccer, as you'd call it. It was very late at night, very cold evening this week. And my mother-in-law was with me. And she used to be a really good athlete as well. So her body's taken a lot of stress over the last few years, last 80 years. She's 80 now. Anyway, she was at a stage where she's got really serious disc degeneration and she couldn't turn her neck at all. So it was a really cold night. We were out in the wind and rain. So I always carry this anywhere. Now she's already taken the liquid because she's just loves it. But she thought, even though I told her this was just for anti-aging face. So I said, no, I've got some of this. Let me put it on your neck. Did 3 times in 10 minutes. You know, those things where you think, why did I not video it? So she went from not being able to move her neck at all to being able to turn her neck really comfortably in 10 minutes. And she was completely blown away. Yeah. And so really do try this, folks, because those people that know sort of David and I, they know we don't say these things if we don't mean it. And it's so foundational. I've seen such dramatic results from people and animals in so many different areas because it's working at this cellular level.
Well, one thing, let me just mention one thing, Catherine, too, is that I've been doing this for a long time now, and I've dedicated my life to making people aware of it until it becomes mainstream. And people like you, anybody can have a massive influence, a massive impact. Because if you tell 10 people about this, everybody knows 10 people, and they each tell 10 people they know, and they each tell 10 people they know, and they each tell 10 people they know. That's 100,000 people that know about this. Social media is just kind of making it a bit quicker, right? Because the word's getting out. But it's as safe as water. Yeah. You can't be allergic to it. That was a big thing with my dad. What was the safe? Was always a risk. When I would write prescriptions, I had to worry about 3 things. Someone could be allergic to it. It could interact with another medication, and they could overdose. You have to get the right dosage. You don't have to worry about any of that with this because you can't be allergic to it. It's in everybody. I mean, it's safer than food. And people say, how can it be safer than food? I give a peanut to the wrong person, I could kill him. Yeah. I can't hurt anybody. Animals, cats, dogs, horses, humans, can't be allergic to it. It doesn't interfere with medicines. So if someone is taking medicine and they say, gosh, the medicine is causing side effects and it's really not giving me the benefit I really want, but it's helping some, I'm scared to stop taking it to do this. You don't have to. You baseline everything in your health. You write it all down, everything, sleep, energy, mood. If someone's got low mood, and then they used to be, it was so bad before medicine, they were suicidal. Now they take medicine and they feel better. They don't want to kill themselves, but they still are not happy, and they got side effects. They don't have to risk getting off of the medicine. They just baseline, well, where am I today with my mood, with my sleep, with my energy, with my hot flashes, with whatever it is, right? And say, okay, let's just add this and see what happens, right? And with no risk of anything, right? It can't hurt you. And lastly, there's no toxicity. When I would write prescriptions, I had to get the right dosage. If I wrote it for too high by accident and the pharmacist didn't catch it, I could kill somebody or have their liver shut down. This is not a medicine. It's not metabolized by the liver. If you drink too much of it, your body instantly turns it back into what it was, which was saline. Mm-hmm. And people say, well, I have high blood pressure, I can't take it. Yes, you can. There's 125 milligrams of sodium in a daily amount, which is people drink between 120 to 240 a day. Generally, I drink 240 a day. At 120 a day, there's more sodium in a glass of milk. So 2 glasses of milk of sodium is what I have every day. But when I travel, my wife and I are going to Bora Bora next week for about 10 days. But I'm going to be on planes going to San Francisco and going to Bora Bora around sick people. I don't want to get sick. So for 3 days before I go, I drink the whole liter every single day because it can't hurt me in any way. And so I just want to make sure people know the safety, and there's a money back guarantee, because there is no risk with this at all.
I'm so pleased you said that, because this was a primary concern for me, because when I'm working with animals or people, quite often people come to people like you and I, or any holistic practitioner, because they've tried everything else and it hasn't worked. And so this is so important, because safety is absolutely paramount. And the thing is the body does not make something for an accident. There's lots of things that push our bodies off making things properly, but it doesn't do anything for an accident. And all we're doing is putting back what should be there in higher dosages anyway. So this is why I absolutely love it. And I never go anywhere without my gel. I also put some of the liquid in a little spray bottle. I know in the States you have one, but we don't. So I just buy a little spray bottle that hasn't got hardly any metal in.
In your eye.
This round, it's just amazing for the eyes, for the animals, because if people, well, I've got loads. I'll put the playlist below, because I cover lots of things about animal safety, how it's made in other videos. One of the things I really wanted to sort of bring across to people is people are really interested in prevention now. Luckily, people are really taking their sovereignty back and saying, now it's never too late. So don't worry if you've got something wrong with you and you need this extra support. However, in the Northern Hemisphere, we're moving into winter, it's colder, there's more challenges on our body, etc. And this is absolutely fantastic to really prevent, give your body that resilience, isn't it, to cope with whatever life throws at you, whether it's mentally or physically.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I mean, honestly, we're not allowed to say it cures, heals, treats, or prevents anything. So I use the word protect. Most people would like to protect their health, right? So here's the thing, when people would come to me as a doctor and as a patient, because I was the specialist, they came to me with a problem, right? And let's say it was gout, let's say it was arthritis, let's say it was a bunion, let's say it was plantar fasciitis, let's say whatever it was. Unless it was trauma, the problem was brewing for a long time. They just weren't really aware of it, right? And people go to their internist and they're getting short of breath, they're having a heart problem, their feet are getting numb. The problem had been brewing a long time, and then it got to a point where they became aware of it, and then how quickly did they react to it, right? Unless it's trauma. Trauma is like, bang, you fall off your bicycle, that's an injury. And so the decline starts happening to us at puberty. We start producing less and less of these redox molecules at puberty, and it starts at puberty. We start dying. And people say, that's not true, because a 20-year-old is as healthy as a 10-year-old. As I mentioned, a 20-year-old falls off her bicycle, she's not going to heal as quickly as she did at 10. We are declining, but at 20, the process is starting to happen, right? A double-blind placebo-controlled study done on this product, 8 weeks, drinking 240 ml a day, and half the people just drank salt water, saline, double-blind, placebo-controlled. They wanted to see if it would turn genes back on, genetic expression, right? Because genes turn off as we age. So, a 20-year-old young man, boy, his grandfather died at 50 from a heart attack. The dad died at 50 from a heart attack. What do you think he's worried about? Because genes turn off as we age, and they're like shields kind of protecting us. They're producing proteins that make our body function, and they turn off. This study showed it turns genes back on. It is problems when you talk about protecting one's health. To me, that's why I do it. I don't take any medications. I don't even take ibuprofen when I golf. I used to golf in my 30s once a week and take ibuprofen because my back hurt. I don't take ibuprofen anymore. And I golf every day in Florida, sometimes 2 rounds a day, because I don't practice anymore, podiatry, foot surgery. So the idea is, if you can make your body aware of things that are bad things that are happening in your body before you're consciously aware of it, it's much better to not have to worry about a problem and react to it. It's better to just not have the problem. And that's why I will never, ever stop drinking this product.
I'm with you 100%. Now, one of the things that I think a lot of people are very aware of now, we've got the holiday season coming up. We've got people are starting to think about Christmas and things. And one of the things that I've always done personally for years is, rather than giving superficial things, I always give what I call the gift of health. So whether it will be you know, a supplement or a health product. I've just got this. Don't tell my mum. I hope she's not watching. This is new. We've only the skincare kit.
Yeah.
Which she's going to absolutely love. So that's part of her Christmas present. I hope she's not watching. But it's so important, isn't it, that we can share these things with loved ones, and because it's safe, it's completely unrisked. So, you know, I would be recommending for everyone, for if you're buying gifts for loved ones, my children don't go anywhere without this. You know, they really don't. And even though, touch wood, there's nothing wrong with them, they're both really high level athletes, and it massively helps. Obviously they drink it as well, but it really helps with their recovery and stops, you know, to problems building up. So giving the gift of health, that's why you and I do what we do, isn't it, to share this knowledge?
You know, here's the thing about these types of products, or anything that the doctor doesn't tell you to do. You know, once you've had an experience with it, you're never at the mercy of a negative opinion, and you're always grateful to the person who brought it to you. Again, once you've had an experience, doesn't matter what anybody says. It's like, I know that it works. And I think we've learned a lot over the last 3 years with the mentality of human beings, kind of just believing, you know, what the masses believe and not thinking for themselves. Whatever side of the fence you stand on with this whole thing that's happened, and forcing people to put something in their body that was developed in 6 months, and everybody says it's as safe as water. It's like, no, it's not safe as water. This is as safe as water. But anyway, it's a wonderful, you know, like you say, superficial gifts. Like, what am I going to get? Oh, here's a knickknack, here's a tie, here's a paperweight, you know. This to me is the eye-opening experience. This, someone has to commit to do it for 90 days. You know, you have to commit to do it. You need to drink a lot of water. You want to take it properly. You can't hurt yourself with it, but you want to get results as quickly as possible. So then, you know, and you're like, I'm taking this for the rest of my life. This is so quick. Not everybody has things that hurt, but a lot of people do. And if their neck is stiff from sitting at a computer, and they just say, well, it's a little stiff, and they put it on 3 times in 5 minutes, 9 times out of 10, the person's like, wow, that's value. That's not a paperweight. That's not a tie. And what it does is it gets them interested in learning about the more important version of this, which goes to every cell of the body. So I just love that we have the ability to help people so quickly. And, you know, they came out with 3 in April here in the US. You just got it. These 3 new redox products, these cellular performance products.
I love them. We've just got them in Europe and the UK. Oh my God, they're so lovely. Yeah, tell us about them, David.
It's amazing. So the science of redox is huge. This is much bigger than anybody can fathom. Everything, but it's the power that everything is redox. Every reaction, a light bulb, everything works on redox reactions, reductant and oxidant. But it was not really known what these molecules did in the body. Now there's books, there's textbooks, this is being taught in colleges now. But this is a different type of redox. This is exactly what's in us. So you're raising your levels up. This triggers redox reactions in your body. This is redox energy. It's a powder. You just put it in a liquid, right?
That's what I've got here, folks. It's absolutely delicious. Yeah.
It's energy, redox energy, redox mind. So I have a real problem with attention. Yeah. This crosses the blood-brain barrier. This helped me tremendously with my attention. I don't know how I got through medical school, because I read a paragraph and I'm like, what did I just read? I got to go back and do it again. My focus is amazing on this. And then I heard people say, mix it with the energy. So about noon, I put it in a bottle of water. I just drink it. My energy is like this for 6 hours, just focus, no shakes like from coffee. My focus is amazing. And Catherine, I mentioned to you earlier, what was amazing to me, my appetite dropped. And I'm a voracious eater. I mean, I don't eat just a slice of pizza. I'll eat the whole large pizza. I just, but
Yeah,
I find that I'm not that hungry. And when I'm eating, I can sense when I'm done. It's like, and for the first time in my life, this is honest to God truth. First time in my life, going out to restaurants, I'm bringing home leftovers. I never did that. I'm always the person that ate mine and people pushed it towards me. Here, he'll eat it. He'll eat it. And you give it to David. So it's like a nice bonus. And then there's one redox mood for people that don't want to take medications for low mood because of the side effects. Even teenagers who have a lot of issues now with social media and everything else. I mean, this is remarkable as well. So these generally, most people will feel this within a few minutes. About 80% of people will sense it within 15 to 30 minutes. Well, I really feel that, right? Which is nice because, again, of all the things we've talked about, this is the most important product.
I agree.
It can take a little time. Fortunately, this is fast for 90% of people, and this is fast for about 80% of people.
Yeah, so there's lots of choice there, and we're talking about creating the future that we all want to live in. I think the last few years have brought so much awareness to people about what we don't want. Now, David and I and loads of other people, we're really focusing on what we do want. And I really am sharing this because I just think it's so important people have the tools at their toolkit to just really take back their own sovereignty, take back their own lives, and really be the best version of themselves. And I 100%, have noticed that my communication with my animals, my intuition and everything, it just feels like it's just gone up to another level. And I'm so grateful for it. And I'm so grateful for you and Danielle and Debbie and everyone sharing their time, because trust me, guys, these David and Danielle and Debbie things, they don't have to, they do it because they're passionate about helping. And we all know that when you have that attitude of playing it forward, it's actually one of the most constructive things you can do for your own health and well-being.
Well, and Catherine, thank you so much. Thanks for listening. Right? You think you heard from Jay and April. You heard about this, and you said, all right, I'm going to try it. And is it a leap of faith? I don't know. It's safe as water and comes with a money back guarantee. And the one thing is, here in the United States, people say, well, does insurance pay for it? Right? If it's health related, insurance doesn't pay for it. But I tell them, look, when you have your results, you see yourself, you can get your product for free. And they say, well, how do I do that? How do I get it for free? Just share it with people. When the company turned down the offer from the pharmaceutical company, which was a very large offer, and these people could have just walked away, but they said, you need to shut down. And they said, the owners of the company said, what do you mean shut down? What about the people who are on the product that need it? And the pharmaceutical company said, they'll find something else. And, when you're talking about your finger that hurts, it's one thing. When you're talking about something like my dad had, that's scary, it's like, so they made the decision, no, we're not going to sell out. They could have just walked away with a lot of money.
Yeah.
We're going to bring it to the world. And they're bringing it person to person. And so people share this, and the company pays you to share it with people. Yeah. For 8 months, I was referring people to my friend Debbie. I'm like, go to Debbie, see if she can help you. And they all came back saying, this is amazing. And finally I said, you know what? I didn't think that my calling in life was going to be bringing something to the world that's made from salt and water. I didn't think that was it. But like I say, I've dedicated the rest of my life to making people aware of this until it becomes mainstream. And then it doesn't need me anymore. It's like, I'm just going to enjoy the product, and everybody's going to know about it, just like they know a cell phone works, right? They're going to know what this really is. But I did tell you, thank you for having me on, and thanks for doing everything you're doing. And I'm happy to help you whenever you want help. I'm happy to help.
Thank you. And so the message I want to give to people is, why would you not try it? In terms of getting the product for free, I've had quite a few questions on that. The way you get the product for free is sharing your link, and then you earn commission that then you can get free product for. And the one thing I do want to say to people is there's so much support. We are all one big team. And when I mean a one big team, it's been one of the gifts to me. I mean, Jay and April, Danielle, Dr. David, everyone, they're so helpful because they're genuine about what they're doing. So for anyone who wants more information, the link about how to find out more information, because please, please, please do speak to the contacts that I put below. I give Jay's number below and my email, because we want to get you signed up to get the products at the best possible price and the right products for you. So doing it right the first time is so important. I'll also put the playlist of the other videos below, because this is too much to talk about in one thing. And I've done lots of different other interviews where we go into other aspects for people that want to find out more. But there's so much support there for everyone. So thank you for your time, David. Have a brilliant trip. Thank you for anyone that's watching. And any questions, put them in the comments below. Thanks.
Bye, everybody.